Hello, my friends. Today's date is November the 24th, and this is a reading for you if this is your birth date, or if this is an anniversary or a special event day, but mostly this is a birthday reading for the birth date of November the 24th. And this is a 4 card reading, a general energy card for the year, a challenge you might face this year, an action you can take to stay in balance, and an outcome card or synopsis card. So, what is the general energy card of the year but the offering? And what does the offering say? But this is a year where something might need to be sacrificed in order for you to free yourself and offer yourself up to the highest and most sacred sense of yourself. There's something that has to be given away. There's something that needs to be done. There's something that needs to be gifted, offered as a sacred essence. There has to be something that gets lost and surrendered and given away. And that might mean, looking at something and really judging it as something you don't need any longer. And that can be the negative things that are inside of you, offering up your own negativity and pain for some healing for others, for some healing for yourself. But that means often looking at it and working with it and forgiving it and finding it sacred. So, but more than likely, this is an offering about knowing that you need to do something or offer something in order for a situation to be better, someone else to be served, and yourself to be served in the long run. It's not easy to offer something that is holy and sacred to you, but there's a sacrifice means sacred, but there's a gift in sacrifice. There's a holiness in sacrifice. There's a sense of really realizing that someone else needs you, and neither of you are alone, and that in the reciprocal game of humanity, giving and receiving, sacrificing for others, offering out the best of self up in service. Those are all magnificent goals, magnificent structures, and pay off in your mood and your humor and your enlightenment in the long run. Even though it's hard to give things away, it's hard to give self away, but that's what's really kind of the balance point for humanity, is we learn how to give ourselves away, trust in flows, offer our best up for the highest good, and receive back in kind with recognition that, we are part of this whole, and we are a necessary part, and we have a role to forgive and a role to give in this movement. So what is your particular challenge November the 24th, people? It is the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is a hard one, because this is about minds, and this is about the mind. Fives clamp down. Fives in some decks bring sorrow, and other decks bring rage, and in this deck it brings a sense of feeling guilt and ashamed, or angry and resentful. There's a lot of holding on of old patterns. Now this pattern may have come from a parent who was highly critical and never gave a good word, and always backed one into the corner, and always pushed their beliefs onto you, and made you feel little and small and unimportant or unworthy or unable. And who is the comforting energy here? Usually, the feminine energy, or the nurturing energy. In this card, there is no nurturing energy. There's someone standing, trying to protect themselves, trying to protect their own power. They may be saying something, but they can't do anything. There's a sense of helplessness and inability to protect someone who needs to be protected. So all that energy might be going on for you. And are you the giver of that energy? Quite often, that's a thing that's handed down from parents to kids. Quite often, the relationships of mothers learned and fathers learned from their own parents. So in a lot of ways, you're doing familiar and cultural healing work that needs to be done, to look at this and stuff in a bigger picture, and not feel overwhelmed by it, and not feel cowed by it, and not be held hostage by your own pain and resentment by it, or by your own guilt and shame by it, because maybe you've perpetuated the myth perpetuated the action, I should say, of condemning someone else, of calling someone else out, of judging them and pushing them into a corner. There's no, don't feel bad and wrong and horrible about this. This is a learning process that we all have to go through. On the other side of that, you might be the one who's feeling backed into a corner and ridiculed or pointed fingers at, and be afraid to act. So what does the offering card have to do with this? I think the sacred thing that you might have to offer is your fear and your distrust and your reluctance to participate in something because you're afraid of either how you're going to show up or how someone else is going to show up towards you. But the most sacred thing you can do is to face that energy and set your boundaries and remember that you want to do it in a better way, a kinder way, a more sacred and holy way. And finding your way there can only be done by facing this torment in your own mind and offering something up toward healing it. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. The action that says to take here is to be the ant, and the ant is all about cooperation. The ant is community. The ant is everyone, in the ant colony is working toward one common goal, and they're all working for each other, and they're all part of this mechanism, this army of movement forward. So on some level, I think it's asking you to join with others in some kind of powerful dynamic that speaks to you as a mission, that speaks to you as a purpose, that speaks to you as a sacred endeavor. Is that your sacrifice, to join some sacred endeavor and lift yourself and others up in it, and to learn how to not be afraid of your own fear of being judged or fear of being judged? Exactly. Five of Swords. Fear of being judged by yourself, by others, negatively, harshly, fear of judging others and not feeling like you're caught in that old trap, because it never really feels good to always be in constant judgment of others. It eats at your own soul. So those are the things you want to sacrifice and honor and get rid of, because your pain is real. And I think the ant says, well, your pain is real, and you'll find when you cooperate with others and build something on a bigger level that you're going to be able to show some of your pain and heal some of your pain and work through some of your pain and not be so bombarded and cowed by your pain. And so this is about working with others, and I think the way out of your trap of your own mind self with whatever pain it is in is to offer yourself up for a higher good and a greater good and a more communal good, and thereby heal some of the old lessons. And this is the outcome card. I love this soul card by Deborah Koff. Chapin, no words, no interpretations, only what's intuited. Reflections. Everything is a reflection of ourselves. Everything is a reflection of what we believe or don't believe. Everything, we have opinions about everything, and when we see something down, we may judge somebody else by what they do, but really we are judging ourselves by what we have done and what we are told to do and what we have been known to do. And so it all ever only comes down to ourself and our own healing words. And so to find some peace in yourself and some peace in the reflection and some compassion in the reflection for yourself and for others is really the goal. And I think that's what the offering is. Get rid of our ego, offer up our ego, which keeps us separate, offer it up so that we can be merged with a higher view, a holier view, a more sacred view, and sacrifice our little egos, our small selves, our the parts of us that feel, alone, abandoned, unworthy, unable, incapable, unseen, unwanted. Those are all untruth. They're all untruths. In the bigger dynamic, you are needed. You are part of this. You are worthy. You have great power. You have great promise. Don't hurt yourself so much. Don't hate yourself so much. Give yourself some love. Sacrifice some of your pain for some better love. Ahom.